Data handling. When the data are written in groups, the data are said to be grouped, and the distribution obtained is called a grouped frequency distribution. Let us illustrate this concept through an example. Consider the following marks out of 50 obtained in English by 60 students of class 8th. If we make a frequency distribution table for each observation, then the frequency table would be too long. So, for our convenience, we arrange these observations in groups as class interval, marks, tally marks, frequency, total. In the table, we have arranged the given 60 observations in 10 groups, 17 to 19, 20 to 22, so on, 44 to 46. Each of these groups is called a class interval, or briefly a class. Let us represent this grouped frequency distribution graphically. The graph of the grouped frequency distribution of the marks obtained by 60 students in English is displayed here. Jagged line has been used along the horizontal line to indicate that we are not showing the numbers between 0 to 17. This graph of grouped frequency distribution is called a histogram. It is a bar graph with no spacing between bars. To draw histograms, we take the following steps. 1. Draw two perpendicular lines. 2. Mark class boundaries on the horizontal axis. 3. Mark frequencies on the vertical axis. 4. Label the two axes according to the given data. 5. Construct bars, rectangles with the respective class intervals as the bases and corresponding frequencies as the heights. Circle graph or pie chart. Observe these graphs. Mode of travel. Time spent by a child during a day. These are called circle graphs or pie charts. A pie chart is a circular disc divided into component sectors with areas proportional to the size of the corresponding components. Pie charts are drawn on percentage basis. Pie chart is generally used to compare the relationship between various components. Pie charts are extremely easy to understand. Let us consider an example. Each of these pie charts gives you a different piece of information about your class. Find the fraction of the circle representing each of these information. A. 1/2 of the circle represents boys and the other half of the circle represents girls. B. 20% or 1/5 of the circle represents bicycle. 40% or 2/5 represents scooter, and remaining 40% or 2/5 represents bus or car. C. 15% or 3/20 represents hate for mathematics, and the remaining 85% or 17/20 represents love for mathematics. Probability. Consider the experiment of tossing a coin once. What are the outcomes? There are only two outcomes, head or tail. Both the outcomes are equally likely. Likelihood of getting a head is 1 out of 2 outcomes, that is 1/2. In other words, we say that the probability of getting a head is 1/2. What is the probability of getting a tail? It is also 1/2. Now, take the example of throwing a dice marked with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 on its faces, one number on one face. If you throw it once, what are the outcomes? The outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thus, there are 6 equally likely outcomes. What is the probability of getting the outcome 2? It is 1/6. Number of outcomes giving 2 upon number of equally likely outcomes. Similarly, the probability of getting 5 is also 1/6.